Thank you, everybody, for coming to the College Football Betting with Aaron Torres YouTube channel. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, click that subscribe button. It helps our channel grow. It helps our audience grow. I appreciate it more than you know as we're talking college football on this channel year round. Appreciate your support. Click that subscribe button. Fayetteville, South Carolina. Oh my God. I will never be able to step foot in the natural state again. I'm so sorry. You can see these bags under my eyes. It's been a long week, but it's okay. We're going to go, forget South Carolina. We're going to go to beautiful Fayetteville, Arkansas, where the Arkansas Razorbacks, for a second game in a row, hosting a ranked team at night. This one is a 7 Eastern, 6 local time kickoff. LSU comes into this game as a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 56.5. And oh, by the way, that line is very interesting from this perspective. The last 4 games in this rivalry, I'm going to pull it up for you right now, okay? The last 4 games in this rivalry have all been decided by a field goal or less. Last year, when LSU had the Heisman Trophy winner, an elite offense, the number 1 offense in America, Arkansas struggled, finished 4-8. LSU wins 34-31. The year before, 13-10 LSU win. LSU, that was the week after they played that big Bama game at home, struggled to put away Arkansas on the road. The year before, 2021, Arkansas wins 16-13. And in 2020, LSU won 27-24. So the battle for the boot, the battle for the golden boot. Whew. It's always close. It's always competitive. Let's go ahead and dive in very quickly to both sides of this game. First off, from the Arkansas side, listen, we know what the big story is. Like, what's going on with Taylor Green? Thought it was interesting. Early in the week, Sam Pittman did his Monday media availability, basically said, like, yeah, we think Taylor's going to be good. Last week was a lighter week for everybody. We're going to ramp up as this week goes on, but we expect him to be there. Well, you look at what Sam Pittman had to say on Wednesday on the SEC media availability call. I'm just going to read you verbatim so that nobody can say that Torres is misinformation Torres, okay? This is what Sam Pittman said on Wednesday. He said, I have been encouraged with how he's practiced. That sounds good. He's still not full speed yet, but we certainly think there's a possibility that he can get there. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we have 2 more practices, but I have been encouraged by his progress this week. Well, you could take that as one of 2 things. I've been encouraged by his progress this week, but he's still not at full speed. In an SEC game, not ideal. So to me, that's kind of the interesting story. Now, to Malachi Singleton's credit, he looked very good closing out that win, making plays late against Tennessee 2 weeks ago. But is that a guy you want for a full 60-minute game? I don't know. Good news is, by the way, Sam Pittman did say throughout the week, like, we want to keep running the ball as well as we have. You got Jaquindon Jackson. Obviously, Braylon Russell was the guy that stepped up 2 weeks ago against Tennessee. And Sam Pittman said, we want to make that more of a priority. I think that's nothing but good news for Arkansas going up against an LSU run defense, which is much improved. I will give them credit. 53rd nationally in the country, but they're still not exactly, blowing people off the ball here. So Arkansas, big question is the status of Taylor Green. Opposite side with LSU. It's tough to really gauge. And we talked a minute ago about with Tennessee, Alabama, there's positives and negatives on both sides. I think considering how LSU won last week, I think it is easy to focus on the positives and completely eliminate the negatives. I'm going to try to be fair and balanced, but I do think there has to be some concerns if you're LSU. The positive, Garrett Nussmeier, it's like that old Shaq meme. Garrett Nussmeier, I was not familiar with your game, okay? Because, listen, I knew this guy was good coming in. But he had the game of his life. Finished that game 337 yards, 3 touchdowns against Ole Miss, and he made just some big throws, especially late in the game. And so you got to give him credit. I also think it's sort of worth noting. He finished 22 of 51. So he made some big throws, which undersell, it's revisionist history that he played this incredible game. He just made some incredible throws late. And then on top of that, the run game is still not going. They finished that game against Ole Miss, and I know Ole Miss is a very good defense this year, but they finished that game 84 yards rushing on the game. Defense is still hit or miss. Ole Miss did outgain LSU last week. Now again, compared to what LSU was doing a year ago, significantly improved. But it is worth noting, gave up almost 500 yards against Ole Miss last week, and just a really weird game overall. As a matter of fact, let's take half a second. We don't play a lot of sound on the college football betting show, but Lane Kiffin took some heat for saying something after the game that I want to react to before we make our pick on this game. Producer Matt, go ahead.
I mean, they're a good team, we're a good team, but we should have won that game.
Lane Kiffin, we should have won that game. And listen, I know that after a loss, it doesn't look good to say that, okay? But what Lane Kiffin said was not wrong, and so let's make the pick on this game. My pick on this game is Arkansas plus 2.5 and Arkansas to win outright. And part of the reason is, listen, LSU is clearly improved on defense. I'm not trying to take it away from LSU. I'm not trying to say that they're not improved. But the counter to that is just think about the circumstances in which LSU comes into this game. We know LSU at night is as tough as anywhere in college football to play. Nobody would dispute that. Well, think about the circumstances that LSU needed to win a week ago. LSU, as I said, was outgained by Ole Miss. By the way, worth noting, Ole Miss, the opening drive of the game, Trey Harris, who is as good as any wide receiver in the country, running untouched down the middle of the field, dropped a pass that would have been 6 points taken right off the board, 7 with the PAT. So that's off the board. You get outgained. Ole Miss finishes with 12 penalties for 110 yards. And here is the craziest stat from the entire Ole Miss LSU game. And I think most of you probably know it at this point, but for those who don't, LSU never led until the final whistle of the game. Until Kyron Lacey caught that ball in the end zone in overtime, LSU never led at home the entire game against Ole Miss. And so I could go on. But first off, from the Arkansas side, this is a good team. Look at what that defense did to Tennessee. Look at the they made Tennessee look really bad. And if you want to argue that Nussmeier is a better quarterback than Nico, I'm not going to fight you on that. But the LSU run game ain't nearly as good as Tennessee's is. So you're at home. This LSU offense to me is limited. This LSU team is limited, okay? I keep saying it. And maybe I look stupid come Monday. It's happened before. But when I look at this LSU team, Nussmeier, even in that big win, 48% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 100th ranked run offense. I keep getting told how great this O-line is. They can't run the football. One really good receiver in Kyron Lacey, one really good tight end, but it doesn't look like LSU. Like when LSU is operating at the highest level, they just look different than all but 2 or 3 teams in college football. And so I think Arkansas is the better team. Listen, the one thing I would say, if we knew Talon Green's status, I actually think, one, I think it might be a pick 'em. 2, I would actually like the over because Arkansas's pass defense has not been as good as the run defense this year. The LSU run defense has been better. The point I'm trying to make, the matchups could set up a scenario where it's a high-scoring game, but this is a game that is decided by a field goal every single year. And so to me, it still feels like Arkansas getting 2.5 at home, that's the right side. And maybe LSU makes me look stupid. It's hard for me to get excited about this team. You get outgained, 12 penalties, and you still you don't lead the game at any point until it's over. Give me Arkansas. I like LSU. I don't think LSU's in that top tier of the SEC. I think they're in the middle tier. I think Arkansas is right there. I think Arkansas wins this game.